Hello friends, I know we have been talking earlier about the radio telephony restricted exam which is being conducted for CPL license, right? So today we have an update for you. Till now there's been a lot of talk about how the handover is going to take place between the WPC, that is the Wireless Planning and Coordination Unit of the Ministry of Communications, and the DGCA. So finally the letter has arrived and the dates have been decided when the handover is taking place. However, the further update has come on the DGCA as how they're going to conduct the exams. That is what we have been waiting for, right? Because under the WPC there was a particular format, and now DGCA has issued a draft CAR, that is a civil aviation requirement, for the RTR restricted, and that is called the draft CAR for RTR restricted 2025. It was issued into the public domain a month ago, and the last date for people to give feedback was the 10th of August. That date has passed now, and now it is any time that it is going to be made a public document. So let us go through the points which this CAR covers. So it's basically, as we told, about the RTR exam, that is the radio telephony restricted exam, which is for the aeronautical license for radio telephony, right? So who is the legal authority for this? It is basically issued under the Rule 18 of the RTR Certificate and License Rules of 2025 as per the new CAR. And the DGCA has been empowered to conduct the exams and issue and extend the licenses, which was earlier, of course, being conducted by the WPC. They were issuing the RTR certificate, and based on this, we would apply to the DGCA for the RTR license. So this is the change. So now there is no WPC and it's going full towards the DGCA. Now, how is the examination going to begin? That is the most important part, right? So all of you are going to appear for the exam in the future after this current attempt, which is being done by WPC. That will end in the mid of November, I think. And thereafter, the exam is going to be conducted by the DGCA. So the pattern. So till now, we know the pattern was part 1 and part 2, wherein part 1 was the practical examination. And if you cleared that, then you were taken for a viva, right? So the things have turned now. Now the DGCA has said that first part would be the written examination. So written examination is going to be an online exam. So you don't have to go anywhere to write the exam now. It's going to be an online examination. And of course, it's going to be in English. There are going to be 50 MCQs which will be there, and the pass percentage, just like any of the other DGC exams, is going to be 70%. Once written, it is valid and you clear it. It's valid for 3 years. Okay. Now we come to the practical exam. The practical exam is only eligible. You're only eligible for the practical exam if you have cleared your written exam. So that is the change now it's saying. Similarly, like the earlier you cleared the practical, then you were cleared for the viva. In this case, unless you clear the written exam, you will not be allowed to sit for your practical. And the practical is going to be a similar exam, of course, like the old one. Only thing, the timings have changed. Earlier it was a 25-minute exam. Now it's going to be a 30-minute simulated radio telephony test. Pass percentage is 50%, and you are given 3 attempts to take the practical. That means you have already passed the written. You will be given 3 attempts to pass the practical. If you do not fail or pass in all the 3 attempts, that means you fail all the 3, then you have to rewrite your theoretical exam. So that is the thing. And there will be no rescheduling or refunding of your expenses if you do not appear for it. So it's simple. Although your return is valid for 3 years, in that 3 years you can make 3 attempts. If you do not clear, then you have to go for the written again. Again, if the validity of 3 years is over, again you have to go in for the written exam. So I think that is very clear. First written, you clear the written, thereafter go for the practical exam. Now, who are the people exempted? As earlier, there were some exemptions. Similarly, defense pilots who have about more than 1,500 hours of flying will be exempted. Existing RTR license holders, basically on the previous rules, they are exempted. And people who have RTR from the Commonwealth nations like Philippines. Commonwealth nations are South Africa, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. they are all valid for 3 years. Only thing again, once you clear, you have to come and do the practical part again. Okay, so that is the exemptions part. How do you apply? Earlier we were applying on the Saral Sanchar portal, right, for your RTR exams. Now you have to register on the EGCA portal, wherein you have a fee for the written, which will be on the Pariksha portal. The practical fee will be on Bharat Kosh or the EGCA portal. And once the fees is paid, the admit card will be given to you 3 days before the exam. The renewal and issue of the license. Okay, once you get your thing, once you finish both the exams, you have to clear the written and the practical. That is when you will be cleared for the license, right? So you will be issued license. So you clear both, or you have an exemption. You can apply for the license, and it is extendable up to 80 years of age, unless it is cancelled or suspended. Renewal is if you are the last 3 months aeromobile service in the last 1 year, or a yearly extension can be done. Otherwise, the license is valid for 3 years. Okay. Now, who can conduct your training? There's now a particular module has been given wherein the training has to be done. So certain training organizations which are called the RTTO, Radio Telephony Training Organizations, have been designated just like flying training organizations. So any of the DGCA approved airlines, the non-scheduled operators NSOPs, flying training organizations, ANSPs, that is the air navigation service providers like AI, and aviation English organizations can provide training as long as they have been approved by DGCA. They should have a basic office and administration space, an audio-visual classroom which can accommodate about 25 trainees, a library or a library, and one of the main things they should require to have is a radio telephony laboratory, basically for simulating all your radio telephony between the pilot and the air traffic controller, crew resource management, and handling of emergencies. So all the practice has to be through the simulator. And it is also mandatory that whatever is being trained there, the voice and videos have to be logged and given for quality assurance audits. Now, who are the staff who can conduct these things? Now, you should have an accountable manager who has got at least 5 years of experience to handle the operations. The RTR instructor can be a CPL holder with a level 5 or level 5, or anybody with minimum 5 years experience in handling RT. So an air traffic controller or a flight dispatcher who has been handling RT for at least 5 years is also capable of becoming an RTR instructor, as long as they have all undergone a capsule course, a 2 days capsule, which is planned to be conducted by DGCA in the coming future. Later on, they will designate maybe one of the agencies or ex-instructors who can become the trainers. There should be a head of training for the institute who has to have at least 10 years of experience either as a CPL or as a licensed ATCO. And lastly, there should be a quality assurance manager who again should be either of these, a CPL or an ATC officer with at least 5 years of experience and having some training on quality assurance. The training duration is supposedly around 48 hours of total, which includes 5 hours of regulations, 10 hours of the radio principles, 33 hours are the practical aspect of the procedures of radio telephony and mock tests. So that encompasses the training duration. So with that, we come to the last slide, last but one slide, where we talk about the lab standards. What should be the lab? It should have a full-fledged simulation of all the procedures which are followed in an airport, like starting from startup of the aircraft to taxi to takeoff to landing, then your en route emergencies, which can be due to any failure of engines or hijack or weather or traffic density. Crew resource management scenarios also have to be practiced, how you handle emergencies. Suppose the co-pilot falls ill or the pilot falls ill. Then, of course, we talked about the voice and video logging, right? That has to be there with timestamps. And of course, the quality assurance audits which are planned. So finally, I want to emphasize that this is only a draft car. But we know that unless there are any major objections to this will come out into the public. And I don't think there would be any. Of course, I cannot speculate, But as of now, it is on the draft phase. Finally, DGCA will notify the final car. We at URBX will continue to give you updates on this, and please keep in touch with us.